Welcome to the Tech Life Well podcast. We're delighted to have you with us.
Where we make technology simple, thoughtful, and useful. For more insights and episodes, visit techlifewell.com.
Welcome to the Deep Dive, the place where we take stacks of heavy research, filter out the noise, and hand you the insights that really matter.
And today, we are diving into a topic that isn't just about AI making things a little better.
No, this is about AI trying to transform the most fundamental, the most human part of medicine.
The conversation itself.
Exactly.
I mean, think about it. The clinical interview, that basic dialogue between a doctor and a patient, that's where, 60 to 80% of a diagnosis comes from?
It's everything.
It is. If you get that history-taking part wrong, everything that follows is at risk. And the real challenge is that access to that kind of expert clinical dialogue is, it's scarce globally.
And that's the gap this new research is aiming to fill.
It is.
So we have sources on two very distinct but related systems, both built on large language models. And our mission today is to unpack the architecture and, honestly, the pretty startling results of these systems.
On one side, we've got AMI, which stands for Articulate Medical Intelligence Explorer. This thing is optimized for taking a clinical history, for diagnostic reasoning, and now even for managing diseases over the long term.
So it's designed to be the AI primary care physician.
In a sense, yeah. And then on the other side, you have the PHA.
The personal health agent.
And this one is different. It's not about diagnosing you when you're sick. It's a multi-agent framework built for proactive, personalized wellness coaching.
And it's relying on hard data, right? Stuff pulled from wearables and blood tests.
Exactly. So it's like this AI health coach and data scientist all rolled into one.
So we're really covering the whole spectrum today. Acute diagnosis with AME.
And then that personalized, data-driven health support with PHA.
Okay, let's unpack this. And I think we have to start with the system that really, threw down the gauntlet. AMIE.
We have to. It was designed to approximate a clinician's expertise, and the results from their first big evaluation were stunning.
We usually think of AI in medicine as, reading scans or maybe answering some basic questions?
Right, static stuff.
Yeah.
But AME was built for the hardest part. Intelligent information gathering, under uncertainty.
Meaning it has to ask the right follow-up questions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To zero in on the problem, just like a seasoned doctor would.
So the researchers knew they needed a serious test, an acid test. They couldn't just give it a multiple-choice quiz.
No way. They put it in a real clinical simulation, head-to-head against human doctors.
Tell us about that setup.
It was an incredibly robust study. Randomized, double-blind, crossover. They use what's called an OSCE format.
An objective structured clinical examination, so like board exams for doctors.
Pretty much, yeah. A standardized doctor test. And it was all conducted over synchronous text chat.
And the scope was pretty wide, right?
It was international. They had 149 different case scenarios sourced from clinics in Canada, the UK, and India. They got 20 primary care physicians, real doctors, to go up against AME.
And who are the patients?
20 validated professional patient actors, people trained to consistently present specific symptoms.
Okay, so here it is. The headline result that really changed the conversation. In this super rigorous blind test, AMIE was more accurate than the human doctors.
It demonstrated greater diagnostic accuracy. When they looked at the list of possible diagnoses, the differential diagnosis list.
A DDX.
Right, the DDX. AMI just significantly outperformed the human doctors on all the key metrics.
That's the diagnosis itself. But a consultation is more than just getting the right answer. What about the quality of the whole interaction?
Well, the specialist physicians, the ones grading the entire consultation, they rated AMIE's overall response. So that's the dialogue, the diagnosis, and the management plan as significantly better.
Across how many areas?
Across a stunning 28 out of 32 different evaluation axes.
28 out of 32. That's just incredible. But okay, let's move past the clinical scores for a second. Because for AI to ever be adopted, people have to trust it. And that trust gets built in the conversation. So what did the patients, the actors think? Did they trust the AI doctor?
They did. In fact, the patient actors rated AMI as superior to the human doctors on 24 out of 26 of the conversation quality axis.
And these were the human metrics, right?
These were the human metrics. Things like listening, explaining the treatment clearly, being polite, showing empathy.
I have to just pause on that. And AI was rated as more empathetic than a human doctor.
It tells you we really need to look under the hood here. I mean, what's fascinating is we need to figure out how it pulled this off How did it conduct an interview that was rated as both smarter and kinder?
So it wasn't some single silver bullet.
No, it was a combination of things. Really focused training and then a novel reasoning process at the moment of interaction.
Okay, so let's talk about the training. What kind of data was it fed?
It was a massively diverse medical data set. They fine-tuned it on almost 100,000 real-world dialogue transcripts. So it learned how people actually talk about medical issues.
And they added more structured data, too.
They did. They supplemented that with things like USMLE-style questions, the medical licensing exam questions, and also structured summaries from electronic health records.
So the data was key, but it sounds like the real magic was in how it learned to be a better conversationalist. That brings us to this self-play environment.
This is the crucial step. They built this synthetic learning environment so it could just practice and get better across all kinds of specialties. Think of it like an AI role-playing studio with a director giving notes.
Okay, and it had these 2 training loops.
Right. In the inner loop, you have 2 AIs.
Yeah.
A doctor agent and a simulated patient agent. They're just talking. But the key is a third AI, the critic.
The critic.
And this critic LLM is invisible. It's just watching the dialogue and giving real-time feedback to the doctor agent, grading its performance, telling it what it did wrong, and forcing it to get better right there on the spot. It's like constant automated coaching.
So the AI is essentially learning how to do the perfect interview by talking to itself while another AI critiques it.
Precisely. And then in the outer loop, all of those improved synthesized dialogues get folded back into the main fine-tuning data set.
So the system is constantly getting better, iteratively improving beyond the limits of that original real-world data.
It's totally scalable.
Okay, so that's the training. Now, what about in the moment? When it's actually talking to a patient actor, it's not just chatting, it's thinking.
It is. Before AMIE generates a single word, it runs this internal 3-step chain of reasoning.
Okay, what's step 1?
Step 1 is analyze. It summarizes the patient's symptoms, comes up with a differential diagnosis, and critically, it notes what information is still missing.
And step 2?
Formulate. Based on the analysis, it figures out what action to take next, what specific questions to ask, or if it's urgent, an immediate recommendation.
And the last step?
Step 3 is refine. This is the safety and empathy check. It fact-checks the response, makes sure the tone is right, and fixes the formatting.
So it forces the model to be methodical, like a really good clinician, before he even says anything.
It's computationally expensive, but it clearly works. And this gets to maybe the most important insight for you listening. The real breakthrough wasn't just that the AI could chat.
Right, because you said it was about equal to the human doctors in information acquisition.
Exactly. They both had about the same number of conversational turns. They got about the same number of words out of the patient actors. So the humans were asking enough questions.
The difference wasn't in gathering the data.
No. The difference was in interpreting that data. AMIE was just vastly superior at processing all that information it gathered to produce a complete and accurate differential diagnosis. The machine's edge was in pure, structured cognitive processing under pressure.
And you mentioned it was also way more verbose. It just said more. And the researchers thought that might be linked to the higher empathy scores.
They did.
But couldn't that just be the AI hedging, throwing more words at the problem just in case? Did they control for whether all that extra detail was actually clinically necessary?
That is a great critical point. And the study didn't explicitly separate, clinical necessity from just pure length. However, the specialist physicians who were grading the management plans still rated AMI significantly better.
So even if the verbosity helped with the subjective empathy score?
The detailed, structured reasoning, thanks to that 3-step process, led to objectively better clinical plans. That structured thinking let it communicate its plan more clearly and completely.
And that clarity, that feeling of thoroughness, is the magic formula for trust.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's AMIE tackling acute diagnosis. But medicine is a marathon, right? Management is the hard part. How does it handle long-term chronic illness?
Well, that's the new frontier for the AMI research, shifting from that one-off diagnosis to longitudinal disease management.
Which is infinitely more complex.
Oh, totally. You have to factor in everything. Side effects, patient adherence, lifestyle changes, clinical guidelines that are constantly being updated. It's a huge challenge.
And AMIE is making progress there.
It is. The latest research shows it can now support multi-visit consultations, and it's matching or even exceeding clinicians in management reasoning. So planning tests, treatments, prescriptions, all grounded in up-to-date guidelines.
So if AMIE is handling the illness, the next logical question is, what about preventing it?
Right.
And that's where we shift gears from the clinic to the personal health agent, the PHA. This system is all about empowering people on their own health journey, using LLMs, plus all that hard data from their lives.
And this system was built completely from the ground up, based on what people actually want and need. The researchers looked at over 1,300 real-world health questions from forums and surveys to see where people's real pain points are.
And they found 4 main things people needed help with.
4 core categories. First, just basic general health knowledge. Second, personal data insights. How did my 10,000 steps yesterday actually affect my resting heart rate?
Right, actionable stuff.
Exactly. Third was wellness advice, like how do I improve my sleep score? And fourth was some help with initial personal medical symptoms.
And you can't just build one giant AI to do all of that well.
It's nearly impossible. And that's why the PHA is a multi-agent system. It's designed to mirror a collaborative team of human experts. You have a data scientist, a domain expert, and a health coach.
Let's break down that team. The data science agent, that's the number cruncher.
That's the personalized data analyst, exactly. Its job is to analyze the time series data from your wearables and your biomarkers and give you actual numerical insights. So if you ask, am I getting more fit? That's a statistical question.
And the agent can answer it.
Yes, it translates that vague question into a proper statistical analysis plan, generates the code, runs it, and gives you a data-driven answer. It was way better than baseline models at this.
Okay, then you need the domain expert agent, the fact checker.
The fact checker. This is so crucial in health, right? You absolutely cannot have the AI hallucinating medical advice. So this agent uses authoritative sources, like the NCBI database, to ground every response in verifiable facts.
And it tailors the advice.
It does. It factors in your personal profile, like pre-existing conditions or your latest lab results. The clinicians who reviewed its output rated it as significantly more clinically relevant.
And finally, the human touch, the health coach agent.
Right. The HC agent's job is behavior change. It supports goal setting. It fosters lasting habits through these multi-turn supportive conversations. It uses real psychological strategies like motivational interviewing.
And coaching experts validated this.
They did. They assessed it on professional coaching principles and its ability to give actionable guidance, and they found it was substantially better than just a generic LLM trying to act like a coach.
So you have these 3 hyper-specialized AI experts. The secret sauce, then, has to be how you manage them.
It has to be. And that's where the orchestration comes in. The PHA system has this intelligent orchestrator, kind of like a team lead. It analyzes your query. My sleep score is low, what do I do? And it dynamically assigns a main agent, probably the health coach.
And then brings in the others for support.
Exactly. It pulls in the data science agent to give you specific metrics about your sleep, and the domain expert to make sure the advice is safe. It manages their collaboration to create one single comprehensive answer.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, that whole collaborative structure was the key, wasn't it?
It proved vital. They ran a really important comparison. The orchestrated PHA framework blew the doors off 2 other setups.
What were they?
First was a single, powerful AI that tried to do all 3 jobs at once. And second was a system that called all 3 agents at the same time. But it lacked that smart orchestration to put the pieces together.
So it's not just about having the specialized AIs, it's having them work together intelligently. How did actual humans respond to the final system?
The results really speak for themselves. The human evaluators, both everyday users and health experts, they rank the orchestrated PHA as the best overall system in the majority of cases.
By how much?
80% ranked it number 1 for quality, effectiveness, and usefulness. It just confirms that for complex things like health coaching, emulating a collaborative human team gives you measurably better results.
This has been a fascinating deep dive. So we've seen 2 major breakthroughs. AME showing it can handle complex diagnostic conversations.
And even outperform experienced doctors in a simulated setting.
And then the PHA framework showing us a blueprint for building personalized, data-driven wellness coaching through these collaborative, specialized agents.
What we absolutely have to mention, the limitations the researchers themselves pointed out.
Of course.
The AMIE study used a text chat interface. That's not a normal environment for a doctor, right? The lack of nonverbal cues, body language, that could have been a real disadvantage for the human PCPs.
And it's critical to remember these are research prototypes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They are not ready for prime time. There's so much more research needed on safety, reliability, efficacy, privacy, all of it, before these things can leave the lab.
And the researchers also flagged the issue of fairness and bias.
A huge issue. We have to build frameworks to make sure these systems don't just amplify the existing inequities we already have in healthcare.
So this entire body of work really points away from this idea of a single giant AI brain that solves everything.
It really does. It's moving towards these modular, collaborative, specialized systems that seem to be more trustworthy, more coherent, and just more helpful.
Which leaves us with a really important question for you to think about. If systems like AMIE and PHA can scale world-class expertise and empathetic, structured conversations to every single person everywhere, could these kinds of collaborative AI architectures become the foundational core of the next generation of learning health systems?
It would change the entire definition of what equitable access to health expertise even means.